Hello, everybody!
Ethan, Nicolle, and Doug TenNapel.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Welcome again to Making Comics, the podcast about making comics. Today we have special guests again, the second time, for Ethan Nicolle and Doug TenNapel. Here we go.
So, I seem to remember the clearly in my mind, Doug, the ending of the last podcast was something like, I will never do a Kickstarter.
Yeah, mocking Kickstarter. He said, that's not us.
That's right.
That's some other guy.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
It's whatever it is that's successful about that, I knew that it wouldn't succeed for me, right?
Yeah.
So just because I've raised $115,000 on my Kickstarter doesn't mean I'm not going to get a lawsuit slapped against me like 2 weeks from now for like $120,000 from some ingrate who's going to. So I'm the jury's still out. It's going well so far.
Yeah.
I got so much I want to say. What do I say?
You're allowed. We have a special guest.
Very special guest.
Jewelry is being crafted in this room.
As we speak. ShellyJewelry.com. So yeah, you had a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And it went really well.
Yeah.
A sketchbook of 15 years worth of, or 15 sketchbooks, or something ridiculous.
42 sketchbooks, 20 years. But
20.
But who's counting?
All off. Yeah,
That's all.
I'm not.
What's funny is while I was Ethan came out, we're doing CTNX, just visiting, and he came to my hotel room, and I had been working on some of the Earthworm Jim commissions, the 8.5 by 11 commissions.
Okay.
So I had like a pad of like 30 commissions.
Yeah, same drawing over and over and over again.
Yeah,
Wow.
same Earthworm Jim.
For the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm starting on those now, even though I'm not going to deliver them until next spring.
Yeah.
But so I don't want them all at the tail end. They will look terrible if I wait till the end to do them all at once. I'm going to do them in chunks, kind of.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
And so an expo is going to be a nice thing because while I'm selling books, I'll have Earthworm Jim, these images I'll be working on while at the expo doing commissions. So people like them, I can go, I'll sell you one of these, and they can buy them. And I ran into Pascal Campion and Michel Garnier, and I breathed on Glenn Keane and almost died of love. So good.
Way to die. Good on the tombstone. Doug TenNapel. He died of love.
Speaking of love, Ethan just got engaged.
I did.
Very cool.
Buying jewelry for her right now.
Oh man. Well, I made a list of subjects that I thought of that we could talk about for either one of you. I don't know what you want to talk about and what you don't.
I get to pick Ethan's.
Okay. if you can read my handwriting.
Yeah. Says, tell us about your criminal record.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that'll be the shortest topic. Noise violation.
Getting married. See, we're on the subject already. Getting married. So let's do that.
Getting married.
How did that all unfold?
Oh, man.
It says you're getting married to Carson Daly.
Getting married on Carson Daly. Well, I don't know. The story of how we met's not too exciting.
Was it because of X-Cop?
eHarmony. No, she had. That's what I love about my fiance. Her name's Jessica. She's never even seen Star Wars. She's like clueless about the whole comics industry. She was never drawn to like I'll like get out a sketchbook and like show her stuff. She's kind of like, it's just weird to her. But she's just like just a good woman, and that's I don't know. We get along, and our sense of humor, even though she doesn't read she doesn't read comics, she doesn't read my work. That's like the comforting thing. It's like she's my escape from that world in a lot of ways. And it's just, I think I had dated on eHarmony a lot when I moved to LA because I just, like, how do you meet people, Mm-hmm. And a lot of times girls that were, like, in the industry, somehow it was always, like, this big, like, bragging thing that they knew the Axe Cop, they were dating the Axe Cop guy. And it was just annoying, like, weird. And
they stabbed you a lot.
And the stabbings. So yeah, no, I love that about her. I love how like clueless she is to the comics industry. Like just the look of horror on her face when she comes to conventions with me.
Yeah.
And
my wife is the same way. That's how I knew.
Yeah.
Good woman.
Yeah.
It's like they go to the convention. They're like, not for me.
Her and I, we need to hang out.
That's right. The women, there's just. See, they love the guy, not the career.
Mm-hmm,
I mean,
exactly.
And so it's very practical for them, kind of, how are you going to interface with me as a human being? And don't give me all this comic book, cartoon, frabba jabba like you could pull on the whole rest of society.
Yeah. Yeah, like if I could tell pretty much, like, almost from the first date, like, if I was to just, like, walk up to her and go, this elf bumped into me today, and, like, my ability to draw is gone now. She'd be like, huh.
Yeah.
Like, well, I still love you. It wouldn't even, like, phase her. Like, it'd be like, well, how are you going to make money? I'm like, oh, I'll find a job. I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
Like, and so I think that was it's just like, it's my thing, and she appreciates it because it's my thing, but I think that's a big, I guess, connecting it to the drawing thing, I guess. But, I don't know, she's
That's the thing, Jason, you're an artist, and we walked through your house just now, and it's elegant in that there's art there, but it's not like you walk into a giant cartoon. And that's what you picture growing up. It's like, I'm going to make a house.
Because I live in the house.
I'm going to draw over all the walls.
I want red walls, and I'm going to diamond stud everything and just make it all wacky. It's going to look like Pee-wee's Playhouse is where I'm going to live.
No.
And then, like, after a while, when you create all day for a living, it's like, I want to go and, like, just use a normal kitchen and have a normal living room and, you know what I mean, and have a real life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I love my art and I love drawing, but I don't want it to be my life in that way where I like having both.
Yeah.
I think there's a richness to, like, being able to escape into my art and then escape from it. Mm-hmm. And some people want to, like, make it almost like a prison for themselves or something, like, or they just, like, they look down on everything else. Like, their art is like their high place, and then they have to step down and everything else. For me, it's like, you know, art is like, it's an escape. It's also just a job sometimes. It's like literally just like hammering on nails, it feels like sometimes. But I think I love normality and the idea that, you know, I don't know, I don't feel like I'm just like some like plebeian piece of machinery when I'm
the lonely nights were always
not being expressive.
Were always so crushing for me.
The lonely nights?
Yeah, when I was lonely as an artist. So I was this
before you were married?
Yeah. So I was an adequate artist.
Well,
but art never fulfilled that thing.
Oh, yeah.
That was like, oh, well, now I don't need other people, relationships, friends, family, and a woman. Or children even.
Well, you were like in your early 20s.
Yeah, and I got married.
I
got married at 23. I mean,
I'm 32 now.
And I fled to it, and I felt old. Like, I was like, I'm ready.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. I always get guys gazing at me and like wonder, like, dude, that's the life I want so bad. You know, you're living your dream. Like, you worked so hard to do like the thing that you love to do, and your job is what you love. And like, you have a wife and kids. Like, I would love to have a wife and kids.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know why. Like, it seems like it's always been really easy for people to find those things somehow, but like for me, it's just so hard.
Well, what about the guys that are they're putting their wife and kids in jeopardy to pursue?
Yeah, those are the ones that really make you mad. Like, I know a guy my friend has a brother who's like, he's so obsessed with his rap career because he's like a juggalo.
A rap career?
Like the Insane Clown Posse juggalo. He's like,
that's beautiful.
He's neglecting his family for that.
Yeah.
That's just like...
And then, if he gets the epitome of that...
Yeah, you get to the height of that, what is that life?
What, you know,
And I think that's one thing, and that's why, like, I'm thankful that I had my dad in my life, because my dad was nearly a famous opera singer, and then he didn't make it. But my dad has a very simple life, with a very good woman that loves him, loves his kids. His life is just, it's the free, simple things that God gives you in life that, like, are the most rewarding. And my dad, like, I learned that from him, that he'd never be as happy as he would have been. Like, when you hear the crazy stories of fame and like fortune in New York when he was like a nearly famous opera singer, you know, it wouldn't have fulfilled him. So for me to like just try to carry that lesson in life. I think that's been a big one for me. So like I've looked forward to finding the woman for me, and so I guess it's funny because like in my life it's juxtaposed. Like I got a TV show deal, an animated series deal, almost like in the same month that I found Jessica, and I knew like pretty much from the first date that I found my wife. Like I just knew that like I found her, you know.
Oh.
And
she's getting all romanced out.
And it was funny. I mean, like I had like lunch. I remember our second date. I had lunch with Nick Offerman that day. Like he's like the most famous person I've ever been invited to have lunch with. Okay. But I had my second date with her that night, and I was just so excited for the date. Like I was just like waiting for this lunch to get over. It was like it's just so weird to have these two things happening at the same time. Like there is that. Everybody says, "Oh, it's your dream coming true." I'm like, "Yeah, my fiance." I'm like,
Yeah.
I know the TV show. I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool too."
Yeah.
But it's not. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, celebrity is a explosive fun thing to happen when you like when I walked past Glenn Keane today and I could just I felt the air go by me, and because he really is just one of my great heroes, and I'd never seen him or anything before. I just kind of walking past him like it's him, but that is an explosive moment compared to family, which is like just a richness in general. That even when like family times are bad, you're still a thicker person, but you're never a thicker person when you're going crazy at a rock concert and loving your band or even getting to go backstage. It doesn't make you a bigger person. If anything, it turns you into this slobbering little poodle that follows bands around for a pop song.
Yeah, and that great feeling of being praised, it really wears and wears, and it also feels cheaper and cheaper and cheaper.
Yeah.
Over time.
Yeah, I feel
because they don't really know you. They're saying it because of like they've seen some of your work they really liked. Yeah. You also know there's a lot of work that you've done that they wouldn't actually like if they saw it. Like it's based on some very slim part of who you are.
And when 1,000 people, no matter what background they have, give you the same compliment, it's hard to take it as a unique comment. Yeah. So. Even when I saw Glenn Keane today, the last thing I was going to do is start fawning on him and go, Glenn Keane, I'm just the biggest fan. You've been a huge influence on me. I've done 13 graphic novels, and they all have, some of your DNA has gone through me, and part of why I pursued this is because of you, and you're even a Christian, and that's heroic, and da-da-da. And all those things may be true, and he's heard them 1,000 times before. So it will only come out cheaper when it comes out of my mouth to him. It doesn't gain anything or buy anything. I just become another obnoxious 46-year-old guy tackling him at a hotel when he's trying to get to his room. He has to pretend to be generous and nice so I don't think he's a jerk. So he's like, yeah, thank you, very good. Oh, good. Can I go to my room now? Okay.
I think the flip side of that, just the disclaimer though, for me, for fans listening, like, I'm not annoyed by you coming up and thanking me or saying any of these things. Like, it doesn't. I love it. I'm thankful. I think the main thing is that you get like, kind of like you've heard it many times, so like it feels unoriginal saying the same thing every time. So I guess you just say thanks. As long as that's okay that I just said thanks, I guess it's like...
Yeah, to me it's realizing that every one of them, it's a unique thought to each one of them, but they're all having that same unique thought. So I have a different perspective on that conversation than they do. And they're being completely genuine. I've had people just cry, when they met me before. And you just go, they're like, you're why I got into video games. Or I bonded with my dad while we played your video game, and then he died the next week. But we spent the whole time on his cancer bed playing Earthworm Jim, just going like, you can't. I don't degrade those stories, but
that's a unique.
Well, for them, it felt like you were there. I mean, you don't have the memory they have.
But it hits them all in that same place. Even that deep of a story. There's another guy who's just some, biker burnout guy who will still be teary-eyed, going, "You make me feel like I did when I was 5." Yeah, playing that game when I was 5. It's like it tapped into something developmentally in who they are that goes deeper in an instant. I didn't purchase that and I didn't earn that. I made a game. But they played it at a point in their life, an innocent time in their life, maybe that brought them a moment of joy. And now they are longing for that again. And when they see me, it shakes that stuff loose. So I'm saying it's loaded with stuff for them, but for me, I've heard thousands of positive comments about a video game character or a comic book character or a cartoon show, and that cartoon show only exists to sell Happy Meals and cereal boxes. I mean, you're trying to find. I use this as a cautionary tale. If you're trying to find ultimate meaning in this stuff, you're looking in the wrong place. So it's fun, enjoy it, be thankful it's your job, and you're making connections. And I've made just, hundreds of friends through this medium, and I'm grateful for that. But the medium itself and the things itself and the little video games themselves are really, they are not made of gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the weird thing of like when you have a really diehard fan, you appreciate it on one level because like, well, it's great they're always going to buy your stuff, but like on another level, like I would never be that into comics.
Yeah.
It's great that you're that into my comic, and I almost depend on people to be into comics more than I am. Like I depend on people that are like regularly reading webcomics, and I don't do that.
Yeah.
So it is a weird.
That's an interesting. Are we taking pictures?
No, you keep talking. I'm just taking you in action, so you can post them with your podcast and say, "Look, this
Look, it really happened."
With my list, looks like I'm actually
it's
thinking
actually
about
Jason doing different voices.
Let's move on to something else. Let's see. Let's go back to your Kickstarter, Doug, because since we started with that.
Yeah.
So, I'm spacing off in that picture, looking right at the camera.
You are not.
What's funny is they'll hear you say you are not on the recording, and then I'll show them that picture of you saying. Very surreal.
So at lunch the other day, you were talking about, in the idea of Kickstarter for you is that you can just sell every year potentially to 1,500 fans.
Yeah.
And
now hold on. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Because I'm trying to lower my expectations on Kickstarter. Because I swear this amazing experience, something has to fall apart. The wheels have to come off.
I don't think it's going to last more than another couple of years before something goes horribly wrong.
Yeah. So I try not to think like, I'm gonna do this, all the time every year. Yeah. My intention is to do it till the wheels fall off. Yeah. So after this first one goes, and because I made the money and I'm going to fulfill that contract, I have to do all the commissions. And the book is going to be done. I'll start the next one right away. Okay, is my goal. Yeah. And it'll be something else. It'll be a second volume of the sketchbook series. This is the first time I've talked about this, by the way, out in public. But it'll either be that, or it might be a limited poster set, or a little, it might be a T-shirt series or something that I do. But I really want to. My theory is that I think Kickstarter is a legitimate, standalone, isolated audience, the same way that eBay is an audience and Amazon is an audience. I think Kickstarter is like all you need to publish to. Yeah. Because they're your fans, they're people that have already, you're developing this market that has already shown that they know how to use PayPal, they're willing to use it and buy it. So they've already shown up for your work. It's not a huge audience. It's 1,700 people. I mean, I'm used to publishing to much bigger audiences than that, but they're far more. They're loyal. They're potent. You know what I mean? They're present. They're commenting. Yeah. So the only bummer thing I'm worried about is Europe, because of all the shipping is just is outrageous. Really So I shipped a couple of items off, some of the higher tier items. I had like some, like a Clayman puppet and stuff that took up some bigger boxes. And they went out. And so I'm going, I wonder who bought all these items, right? Because I'm going, I'll just see where they're from. Like one was to Sweden. No, two were to Sweden. One was to Russia. One was wherever. And it was like, $89 in shipping for a box, this big. And after like 3 or 4 of them, it was like, I mailed off 4 packages and it was like $360. I'm going like, if this is what all of my Europe sales are like, I hope no Europeans ever buy my Kickstarter stuff. Now, I don't want to be insulting anyone. You didn't hear it that way, but I mean, when we talked on the phone, we started talking about what shipping to ship an 8.5 by 11 hardbound book. Yeah. I might lose money on every European book, and if that happens, next Kickstarter will be like U.S. only, or something,
or you just have a high shipping. I mean,
or high shipping. So I'm charging $25 shipping to Europe, and that's all I got was. We talked about this a little bit, but it's like the Europe guys are going like, that is such a ripoff.
Yeah,
and they go,
that's all I heard.
And they would even send me back these hints going, so I got your Kickstarter book, and now I'm going to pay shipping, and the Amazon suggested price is $15, right? And I go, this is not done that way, son. It's like,
it doesn't ship from the Amazon warehouse in Europe.
It is $25, and I'm going to lose my shirt. So, and then even all the European credit cards that didn't go through, I was almost relieved, like, whew, you missed out on this. I feel terrible, but just the shipping is it's like what, half the print cost, right? Like the print cost, cut it in half, that's about what your shipping cost is. So
practically.
It's crazy.
I don't even know what mine's going to be. I'm scared.
Man, that's still my big fear. It's like
and how much did you raise for
$107,000?
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
I whooped him.
Yeah.
And
the day mine ticked over 107, I texted him. I'm like, I beat you.
I guess I shouldn't ask like the number, but I'm curious like how much of that ends up being money that you can live on.
Hardly anything. I mean, I've pretty much have used everything in mine, but a lot of it's because, first I called my tax guy, and I found out I'm going to probably pay $20,000 in taxes. And then Kickstarter.
This is California, so 50% right on the top of anything you clear goes to California.
Yeah. So once I got the money, it was like $98,000 after Kickstarter and the transaction fees, and then another $20 for taxes. The actual printing cost is for 2 books in the slipcase is $28,000, maybe a little more, and then I have to print up batches of Phobos, the trade, and then another graphic
shipping,
and then shipping's probably gonna be about $10,000 or more.
Oh, at least.
Yeah. And
how many bidders total? How many donors did you have total?
It's like 1,300.
Yeah.
And then I paid a designer, I paid my editor, I paid so I basically put aside $10,000, like 10%, practically, into a savings account. And I was like, there's no way anyone's touching this because I'm going to at least save 10%. But it's already like, I'm already going negative in the numbers when I tally up everything that I'm going to have to spend. So I'm just hoping when the books actually start selling, I'll be able to
you bought
recover some of that. Yeah, I got a bunch of extras.
Yeah, so you'll get something on that, and you're building an audience, is what's more important.
People at home are sitting there going, this guy's got $100,000 in cash sitting in his living room.
Yeah.
I know, that's what they're thinking
because
of
they're
how
all
they
going to
treat
use
you.
against you once every time you complain about your finances, like, oh, you got $100,000, you're set for a few years.
Well, I'm going to do, my next book is going to be a textbook. It's a how-to book. Yeah. I'm going to do a digital Kickstarter. And then it'll be, woohoo!
Now, you've warned about that a little bit, because we've talked about that before, where people, they want something more than just a digital, to pay for just a mere digital download, right? They expect something in their hands for value purposes.
Well, I say that with my graphic novels and books, I think. I mean, there's definitely the audience who wants to just see something online and, download the digital app version. But
you're not going to hit $107,000 on a digital download.
I just don't think so. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you've ever heard of Seth Godin. He's kind of this guru in new media and marketing and publishing and all that stuff. He's been around for a long time, and he's kind of just way ahead of his time with this, artists like giving stuff away for free and all that stuff. And he has a huge following, like millions of people that follow him. He's published books and books and books on the New York Times bestsellers. And he launched a Kickstarter kind of as a test. Mm-hmm. And it was all like just a limited edition of everything. And he was convinced that he would sell a lot more digital. So he had like 10,000 slots for digital downloads of this book. And then he had like 200 for the book, you know? Printed. And it's like all the printed editions, whether you bought bundles of them, just sold out within, hours.
Oh, that's good.
And then all the digital ones, like there was like 2,000 that sold out, and they never ever sold very many. And it was so bizarre because I thought that, well, everyone's talking about this digital revolution. Yeah. Everyone just wants the information in it, right? But no, people were turning it down because they wanted the book. You know, people were buying 4 books.
Yeah, I think. Well, the Kickstarter crowd is who wants to invest in something and say, "I did that." Yeah, I think people who buy digital are. It's like they're testing it out. Like it's like taste testing. That's why it's
exactly
cheap.
Right. Yeah. Like if I were to buy a digital comic for an iPad, if I had an iPad, it would just be to check it out quick, and I don't have to invest in putting it on my shelf.
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah, it can disappear, and I'll never know about it again. You know.
Or a big one for me is I read. My fiance has 2 kids, and I read them a lot of comics on my iPad.
Yeah,
it's like perfect for it.
Yeah,
but once again, it's like they won't tear up the books, and it's comics that like they're just for the kids. And but it's not like if I was going to kickstart a book, I'd want that to be on my shelf and be like, I made that happen. You know?
Yeah. And I just think there's something special with. I think books are like it's like art. A guy who collects Rembrandt paintings isn't pleased with a digital Rembrandt painting.
Yeah.
Or someone who likes maquettes, you know. Yeah. Ninja Turtle.
well
Ninja Turtle maquettes isn't going to just be
You're
happy
in my
with.
office too.
We're sharing.
Isn't going to be happy with just a digital model of it online. You know?
Well, and the other thing with the Kickstarter fans who are asking for Earthworm Jim drawings and things like that.
Yeah.
Just telling them, I'm going to send you an Earthworm Jim PDF is not going to cut it.
Yeah.
It's like and these are incredibly digital savvy people that are reading everything on their notebook. Yeah. And there's just something about the real paper thing that is sentimental and beautiful.
And especially the more digital we go as a society, it's like the more the physical is going to be important to people.
Yeah. So people aren't going to buy as much junk, like you said, when you read comics with the kids. You're just going to blow through some old, let's read some Beetle Bailey together, and you don't have to own the authoritative version of it. Or when you go to purchase something from someone who you're a true fan of, you're going to tend to want the original art.
It's almost like a difference between like watching something on Netflix or buying the box set. Like if you love it, you want to buy the box set with all the extra features and everything, and spend the top dollar on it. Yeah. You just want to find out about it. You watch that on Netflix, and they get like the minimum amount of money you can give them.
Exactly.
Exactly.
We're making jewelry sales right now, everybody. ChellyJewelry.com.
Right. And I already know that my wife is so just nonchalant about this interview that she will never listen to it. So she'll never know that I got her a gold necklace. Jason's lovely wife. Handmade her a gold necklace. Yeah. She'll never know. Yeah. So we can talk about it all you want. There's zero overlap. Huh?
Is she on Twitter though?
She's on Twitter, but I'm saying she'll even know.
Fans listen to this show and then tweet her. I bet you'll be excited about it.
No, because she would never ever befriend any of my comic book fans. Usually, because she has to hear them criticize me and make fun of me. Yeah, that she just has no. There's zero overlap between my wife's life and comics. Other than me, I'm the sole overlap. Yeah, and she'll tolerate Ethan too. But it's only because he doesn't talk comics around. So.
Yeah. Her and I need to hang out. Mm-hmm.
The ladies, I tell you, it's like a support group for their. I feel bad for them that they have to put up with.
The wives of comic book artists.
Couldn't they all share stories of like?
You know what? I'm going to start a group on Meetup.
Right.
Wives of comic book.
Right, like the guys are. How the guys are all frustrated with their dreams. You have to hear all these harebrained comic book schemes from this adult man that runs your house. They're going to be like, he came up with this other one that we're going to. Bet the farm on. It's going to take him 2 years to do. And okay, honey, do that animated short. I'm here to support you.
Oh, honey.
I love it when my wife pretends to support
you
me.
Feel like that?
At least you got some giant checks to show up in the mail.
That's right.
Prove her through it works sometimes.
Something. Yeah, it's nice when something fun comes. Just think of all the guys, though, where they don't get a check ever. Like they're out doing comics and they've never made a dime off their art. I've met those guys. They're still like, right? Kids sleeping in the van.
Yeah.
And you're just going like, dude.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's horrible.
I mean,
I'm going, please, for the sake of your family, like, sell out and just go work the grill at some restaurant, man.
But you know what's interesting about that is if people were just to give up on some of that stuff and just try to get jobs, at least somewhere close to that field, in some way, they can learn important things that will help.
They'll get better too,
and they'll get better at that kind of stuff, and they'll even have money to fund some of that stuff, on the side. And I don't know. It's like if I wouldn't have gone after just a career first before trying to pursue my own graphic novels and stuff, I wouldn't have any sort of foundation or grounding or knowledge of keeping schedules and deadlines and anything. It just I would be horrible at it.
Plus, it's a long race. You know, Ethan, you're in your early 30s, and think of how when we first met, or when you're first out of high school or something, how fast you need success to happen, and then how long it actually took.
If someone was telling me how long it took, I probably would have thrown the towel in.
Right.
Would have just started crying.
Yeah.
Because I remember thinking it had to be, it's a year. Like in a year I could do this.
Yeah. I remember I was like, Rob Liefeld made it when he was, 16?
Yeah.
Oh, man, I'm 17. Oh, I gotta hurry.
It's late. Fate is late.
I gotta do this before I'm 20.
I just got an email from a guy who I haven't talked to since 91. In 91, he was Angie's and my neighbor. He lived below us in the apartment complex with his kids. And I looked on his little Facebook about thing, because I was stalking him. No. And it said that he was retired. And I went, what? Retired? He goes, oh, and I go, I wonder what kind of millionaire thing he did. He goes, oh no, I was in the army and I put in my 25 years, and that's it. And I forgot that at some jobs, if you just put in your time, you're done. So that guy's retired. So what if he wanted to do a graphic novel? He actually could, because he's getting full retirement. He could do the most whacked out, crazy graphic novel in the world.
Anything he wants.
Anything he wants. And I'm going and because I went the artist route, I have to work, doing these, working storyboards and all these other things in this industry. And then, graphic novels, I'll sneak them in, where I can.
Yeah. Do we want to talk about
Sure.
New work.
Yeah.
So you got a job at DreamWorks doing storyboards?
I got a gig. I'm a contractor at DreamWorks doing storyboards.
I get to see you on campus every now and then.
That's right.
Lunch.
We have lunch. That's great. I love that.
Gosh, your tweets are gonna get crazy.
That's right. And run into, walk through a campus of greats like Joe Mosier. Just amazing people. To sit there with my Alessandro, my director, and you look through his sketches, and you're in a room full of 6 artists, and they're all drawn better than you. And I just go, first of all, I want to work here forever, because I just want to sit at these people's feet and hope that through osmosis, I get better and better. Because I'm going to learn all their tricks, learn everything they do, learn all their tools.
So familiar.
Yeah. That's what all artists think, though. Is we all have kind of this proprietary way that we do things, and really that studio mentor thing, where you go off to France at 14 and have some master teach you things, that doesn't exist anymore. Now it's you have to get that on the job. While you're on your salaried movie or whatever. And I love that. And I didn't think I'd love the job that much, because it's not working on my idea.
It's what?
It's not working on my idea. It's I'm really spoiled. I get to work on all my own stuff.
Yeah.
And so if I work for a studio, I'm not working on my own stuff.
I hear that all the time.
The funny thing is, you're still thinking what's going to sell is what you're not thinking, I'm just going to make any comic I want, and then I'm going to make any comic I want after I do that one. I think people think that's what you're doing, but you're still constricted to think like what's going to possibly sell as a film or TV show.
Yeah, I don't want to be.
I think the idea that like we all have this idea that we have like our awesome idea, and like someday someone's going to fund us because they're going to see how awesome it is.
Yeah,
and then we're going to make it awesome, and like going to be just free, like getting paid to just express ourselves freely. Like for one thing, like the project I thought that would be was The Weevil, which is my first awful graphic novel. If somebody was like, if that was now my life job to just do that, I would hate it now. Yeah. But I thought at the time,
so aren't you glad you didn't find any success?
So I'm so glad I finished it and did it and got out of my system. But I mean, XCOP isn't like my dream job. It's up there. I love it. It's fun.
But you don't want that on your tombstone. Where you're remembered for that. There may be some other works. There will be other works that you do want on your tombstone, but XCOP ain't one of them. It's like that's something and I'm not saying it's not great. I'm saying it's great, but it's not it's not a work that represents your statement to the world. Your creative statement to the world is not XCOP. I know you. And
my brother was in a rock band, and these guys would like. Yeah, I was in a band too. He would work so hard on these songs. They had one song called the Monkey Rap. Yeah, they did every show where they just did this simple 2-chord thing, and they did monkey noises, and it was everybody's favorite song. They'd always get requested. It was just stupid, and nobody appreciated the good songs. Yeah, and to me, like I almost think like XCOP in some ways is like my Monkey Rap. Yeah. I mean, I love XCOP. I love doing it. I think there's like an art to it, but like I think that it is like it is stupid fun, and like a lot of people say it's like frosting. You know, it's like frosting of comics. So yeah, I mean, it is that way. It's like I hope that I make something else that people appreciate. But I think we all have that. Like, it's just like I think we talked about it last podcast. Like, you can't pick your successes. Like, people pick them for you, and then you choose if you're going to keep making it or not.
Yeah. I can't imagine ever doing anything more successful than Earthworm Jim. And yet, to me, that is something I made, what was that, 21 years ago? It was a lark. Like, I put half the thought in that, and probably hardly any work in it compared to what I work on now. Like, now I really craft, cardboard took like 18 months. And now I describe it as it took 18 months of my life. Like Earthworm Jim, I drew. My graphic novels take my blood, and sweat out of me. They're really hard to make by comparison, and you do them alone. Yeah. That like I just, and I still feel like I have some good books under my belt, but I still haven't done the one thing that I feel like I really want to be, because I feel like we're still learning.
I feel like I'm really still learning. Like I don't feel at all like I've done my great book at all yet.
Yeah.
Out there.
What about you, baby?
Oh, mine's done. My greatest
behind me. It was the first page of Remind, and it was all downhill from there.
No,
that's a huge accomplishment just to do those 2 full volumes and 1 full large story. I mean,
I'm surprised.
It's respectable
at this phase, but I look at Remind as the training ground for my graphic novel career. That's how I looked at it. So when I started that story, I was like, I didn't know how serious to take the story because it was just more about the character design and stuff. And then I tried to push it into a narrative that I strongly felt about, something that meant something to me, so I could. The time I invested felt like it was worth something instead of just drawing something because it was cool, because I knew it'd take so long. So, but yeah, the stories I have.
How long did Remind take? How long?
Well, the graphic novel, about 7 years from start to finish for both.
Okay.
Wow. But before that, it was like 15 years doing animation versions and
pre-me. This is
pre-me.
Well, I saw some of it.
Before we were even dating.
If only
I was like, Cherry, could you come model for me? And she was like, Sonia,
climbing up the ladder.
Oh, no kidding! How cool!
Oh yeah.
Before
Sonia
we were even
doing that whole thing where she's reaching for something.
That's right.
I had one version where it looked almost exactly like her.
If anybody's read the new XCOP, my fiance is the Water Queen. I had her model for that.
That's great.
So yes, it goes.
So your next books, what's next? You're talking about your next books that you.
I'm the next story I really want to seriously focus on is one that I feel is more true to what I want to say, and what I want my stories to be.
Is it the monster one that you showed me?
No, that's one I did in high school.
Okay,
but I kind of would like to do that one more as just kind of a fun thing to just try online, like with animated GIFs and whatever. Just to keep experimenting, because online it's such a there's such a wide canvas. I feel like it could go a lot of different ways. So, but then the serious one, I've never mentioned this, I don't think, online, but I kind of want to package it up and try to shop it around to publishers before I start online.
Oh, no kidding.
Know? But I do want to try to work out a deal with publishers to where I can still publish like the artist edition of it through my company. I don't know. It's all open. It's all up in the air. But I just figure, I'll try to approach it the same forceful way as I did my first one, where it's like, if no one gives me what I want, I'll just do it anyway and see what happens. So who knows? So tell us how working on the Axe Cop animation at Warner Brothers. Is it Warner Brothers? Fox.
Well, it's Fox, but Fox is having a company called Friends Night do the animation.
Okay.
It's for a block of programming called ADHD.
Yeah.
It's going to be on Saturday nights during Saturday Night Live. Yeah. That same block of programming.
Okay.
They're doing all the animation like in-house. Like there's actually like this house in Los Feliz that's just like full of animators and writers and people.
And
they have a sound recording booth back there, and they used to do it all right there in this house.
And you went in and worked with the writers, right? You were.
I was in the writing room for writing all the episodes.
Okay.
We just wrote detailed outlines on the episodes. Yeah. That was where I was really involved. Like I was there like late nights, some nights working and writing some of them, like actually typing them. And
wow.
We would actually get Malachi on the phone and like fill in plot holes and stuff.
Really?
Like yeah.
That's cool.
I think, like, contractually, I can't say anything negative about it right now. I think I have to say only positive things right now.
So that's kind of
that is so good. That is so good.
Did I just, like, say something negative by saying that?
That's right, you did. Oh, you're in breach.
You did.
Okay, yeah, I think I remember seeing something in there that was really strict. So
that's cool.
But in general, I'm really happy with how it's turning out.
I saw the little.
It's a crazy process. Like you have a room full of writers, and we have like this insane story written by a child, and they're trying to like go, what's the through line in this story? Like, what is the hero's journey here? And, like they're trying to pull it out of there because we need to make it into a perfect like it's going to be a 15-minute with commercials, so it's like 11 minutes.
Okay. Like
an 11-minute story. Like, have you read The Ultimate Battle? In Axe Cop, it's the one with Baby Man's chasing a duck. Lobster Man emerges from the ocean. There's the zombies. There's the dog woman. And then there's the superheroes that are actually the zombies on the zombie planet are actually superheroes. And
what does it mean?
Dr. Dudu is actually inside the zombie's head. And then Dr. Dudu is actually he's inside the baby squid. And it's just like this insane story that builds and changes, and it's like 45 pages of like nonsense. And so they try to we're trying to surgically remove one storyline out of that. We're just shaving off the Baby Man part, and we're shaving off this and that, like whittling it down, and then changing what's this here? Why did the bad guy do this? Like Dr. Dudu has no motivation in the comic. He's just Dr. Dudu.
He's a great name.
So we come up with an origin for him. But one thing that was funny that we did like a really big change and rewrite. We gave come up with a whole origin story for Dr. Dudu, and so then we called Malachi and we started to tell him the origin we thought of. We just created a logic. We said, we got this idea. And he finished it the way we finished it.
Oh, wow.
So that was kind of confirming that we were thinking like him.
Yeah.
But there is things there. There's a couple places we wedged female characters in where Malachi never would have.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just stuff like that where it's more politically correct. But in general, not. I've been pretty impressed with what we can get away with. And
okay.
If anything, I think I've been more worried that they're going to make it more offensive than it really is. Because that's the block of programming is all about being... It's Adult Swim style humor, so...
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for them to have Axe Cop pop out a bong or something.
Yeah.
I keep going nobody... There's shouldn't be any cussing in this.
Yeah.
I think because writers cuss a lot, there's a lot of cussing in a lot of the scripts.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's not that they're actually going to cuss in the thing. Not the scripts, but like the outlines. And it's just like their way they describe things.
Yeah.
It's not going to really say that, though, right? Unibaby's not really going to flip anybody off. It's like all these things.
Oh, no,
sure
sir.
Hope not.
No, of course not,
Of course
sir.
not.
What was I? That's temporary.
Yeah, I don't know. It does feel like at a certain point, like, once things got going, I'm really not very involved now. Like, I get emailed stuff, and I just kind of I give my input. Mm-hmm. But it really feels like things are just moving so fast over there now that, like, it feels like there's not even really time for my input. Yeah. I imagine it just hits that point. Like, I got my time to, like, try to, like, give my input, and now it's just like, what's going to happen is going to happen. And what I've seen, you know, I thought the clip that they released, they recently released the Halloween clip, and I thought it was great.
Yeah, that was funny.
They got some great artists in there working.
Yeah.
I like the backgrounds and the character designs and everything. I like it. It's its own look, but it still looks similar to like my drawings and stuff. So. Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. And we've gotten amazing voices.
Yeah.
I guess if you follow the Twitter account, like, then you've heard. But like, we've gotten like. I'm actually not allowed to say who does Xhouse Voice.
Yeah, I saw that on.
Yeah. Even though everybody on the internet like, has it figured out, I'm just like, I have no idea who it is. I don't know, because he has a contract with some other TV network, and he's not supposed to do shows on Fox.
So he's not going to be even credited in the show?
The person that...
It might be on a show called Schmarks and Schmacks.
I didn't say that. So he... there won't be any... As far as right now, there's no Xhouse Voice. I don't think is going to be credited. But, that's why you'll see all these things in blogs, like, talking about it. They don't... I think I'm not supposed to say this, so... I don't know, I'm just going to ruin everything. But no, we got... if you watch Breaking Bad, the guy who plays Gus. Oh. He's Army Chihuahua.
Oh, really?
This is amazing.
That guy's huge.
This is amazing, yeah. And then the guy who plays Mike on Breaking Bad, the Hitman guy, he's going to be Book Cop. We did a whole episode based on the Ask Axe Cop about the Revolutionary War and the 4th of July.
Okay.
It's like Axe Cop's ancestor named Book Cop. He uses books as weapons. And he does it, and it was so trippy. I didn't get to be in there when they were recording, but like hearing him say lines that I wrote was just like...
Oh, I bet.
Patton Oswalt is Sakurang. Ken Marino is Flute Cop.
Flute Cop?
Flute Cop.
See, she
hasn't read X Cop.
I've read some of the episodes to her, crying, and she's like, "Yeah, that's funny." No, she didn't think it was funny. Huh? You liked it. You appreciated it.
It's funny-ish.
One of the Mad Men guys is I don't watch Mad Men, but the guy, the Campbell character. Okay, he's anyway. So just these crazy, awesome mix of like comedians and like awesome drama actors.
Yeah, that's great.
Been pretty fun to see.
Yep. So let's see. So Doug, we'll go back and forth. Cardboard got some award recently, right? New York Library 100 most should read graphic novels or something.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact.
I barely know more than you do about that exact statement. But that's good.
That's great. And that was picked up for an auction too.
And that was picked up for a movie option by Fox Animation, Chris Wedge out there.
Chris Wedge. Okay.
And
that's huge.
Tobey Maguire is attached to it. I think he's either going to play a role or he's going to do a voice, and he's also a producer on it. So
wow.
So
that's great.
And you know, it's weird how slow Hollywood works, because we're used to, like, if you come up with an idea and you like it enough to pull a trigger on it, then you're just hitting the floor running and you're working on it.
Yeah. You're
writing it or you're drawing it or you come up with ideas about it. And in Hollywood, it's like as soon as they pick up an idea, the work stops. It's the exact opposite. And then kind of a room full of, 3 turtles start walking. And they take one step. And
they all start to walk past each other.
Yeah.
So they're just bumping into each other.
And then 6 months later, I get a contract to sign. And you're going like, wait, we're only just now signing the contract? Like,
Yeah.
I'd have this whole dang movie storyboarded by now.
Just the time for the two lawyers, like, on each side to go back and forth. Just, like, amazing. Just for, like, a deal. Like, we have an X-Cop deal with Motion Comics right now, and, like, just the time that it took just to negotiate between two lawyers, I was just amazed how long it took for something that seems like it should be so simple.
Yeah.
Usually about 90% of the time when I get a check in the mail, I never know what it's for. I've forgotten. It's been so long. Look, the Ghostopolis check went through at Disney.
By the time, you just can't sit there and
that
go,
was 2.5 years ago or something. You're going like, I mean, I guess I'd have it coming. Thank you, but...
Yeah. Now, are you actively, or do you have, like, an agent actively shopping around your properties that are still unattached to anything? Still? Or do you always just
supposedly, yeah. I mean, my agent, I just think if a project isn't getting heat, then there's really nothing an agent can really do with it. Mm-hmm. So this goes back to my, our advice to people trying to get their work seen. Mm-hmm. And it's really no different than anything else sitting on my shelf, my book. Mm-hmm. That is, I have 5 graphic novels done that have not been purchased. And it's not because they're bad shows. I mean, Iron West or Earthboy Jacobus, these ought to be great, right? Mm-hmm. Nothing. Mm-hmm. So if it's not moving, then what's my big plan? Is it my agent's job to take it around? My agent really can't create heat on, say, Earthboy Jacobus. Like, they can only keep sending it out to, say, Gore Verbinski has read it, and you can send it to Peter Jackson, and you send it out, and just, what do you do when nothing comes? No, my agent can't make Spike Jonze read it, or like it. Mm-hmm. He's off liking it.
Yeah, really, it's like, if your thing has heat, then they can get, like, for me, it's like, because X-Cop has heat, and it has, like, this, the video just came out.
Yeah.
Now I have two sets of agents. I have the guys that, with Doug, we have Gotham Group, the guys that are entertainment side, then I have licensing guys. Mm-hmm. And if X-Cop's doing well, then it gives the licensing guys, like, they can go around to, like, they went to a costume company and said, you guys need to make an X-Cop costume. Lots of people dress up like this. Yeah. They can show them the photos, and so we got a deal. We got the Munchkin card game.
That was a real licensing deal?
That's real, yeah.
That's great.
So stuff like that, but it's not like you're not going to show up into a costume shop and just go, "This guy made up a character. It's great. You should make a costume of this."
Yeah.
The reason they're making this is because it's already people are already dressing like X-Cop on their own.
Right.
I see.
Whereas if you look at what SpongeBob is plastered on, he's on. A Prius. They'll paint him on the side. There's the SpongeBob Prius edition, or some big thing, and it's because of the size of that license is so huge. So we are on really small potatoes. Like, we're lucky to get a few little gigs here and there, and everything kind of gets its amount of heat. It's like I made Newts, and I never know what's going to happen with it. Well, now we're getting about. The traffic after all this time of 6 months or so gets maybe 2,000 hits on an update day, which is about 1/5 of what Ratfist got, and it's not small, but it's not huge. Yeah. Well, how much heat does that get? It's like the comic itself has to be great enough to get a studio to look at it. It's not going to be based on the traffic. In that case, it may be on some other thing's case where when they see the traffic move toward it, then it dings a bell. In the case of these smaller print runs of like small comics and small web comics stuff, it's got to be the idea's got to hit the right person at the right time. They have to be a personal fan of it. And it was Tobey Maguire that liked Cardboard. Yeah, so he read it.
Yeah, perfect. Wow.
But I mean, that could have been anything.
Yeah.
That's how Walking Dead got picked up. I mean, Cardboard could have been some other obscure, terrible comic book that he was just a fan of, and he'd go like, "Oh, I want this is what I want." World War Z or whatever. Oh yeah, we'll pick up the license for that.
Yeah, I see.
So it's really hard to. You can't count on it, and that's why I keep going back to my job and every other creator's job is just to make it and just put it out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you can't
See if
control.
someone attaches themselves to it. Yeah.
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 And usually they don't. What
Ethan,
stupid question did the Twitter people ask?
Did that insurance agency in LA license Axe Cop for the use on their billboards?
No.
No?
No, yeah, there's Adriana's insurance company. Like, I've been getting emails constantly from people. Apparently there's 48 billboards in the LA area that have my character on it.
Really?
Yeah. Somebody know. That
was a question on Twitter.
It says "Es la ley," which means it's the law, and it shows. They just found a picture of a cop.
It's stinking.
Huh?
It's in Spanish.
Yeah, it's in Spanish. And they just I think they just Googled
a cop.
They Googled a cop, and they just took my image.
They used drawing.
It's my actual drawing. Yeah.
Oh my god!
And it's for auto insurance. Reminding people that it's the law to get auto insurance, which is funny because they're stealing an image.
They care a whole lot about the law.
Awesome.
So we have contacted them. Yeah.
Wow!
I think they're going to take the billboards down. At first, it sounded like they were going to just pay us a small fee, like to use Axe Cop. But I think probably upon realizing that they're like representing a company with a character that's known for chopping off people's heads, they probably are thinking, okay, we'll probably take it down.
That's great.
They don't want to give their clientele any idea.
Remember, it's the law.
Yeah. And look at things a little bit different.
More to come in the next episode with Doug and Ethan. And just to end this episode with some words of wisdom from our friend Doug.
There may be some other works, there will be other works that you do want on your tombstone, but Axe Cop ain't one of them.